HDR monitors are hugely impactful and look right if they're set up properly, but it's always a little bit of a pain to set them up in Windows. I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks. On Windows 10, calibration for your HDR monitor was hugely important, but it was usually handled on a game-by-game basis. So you'd have to dip into the menus for your game and know things like the maximum brightness level for your monitor, and then move some bars until things looked right, till you'd see images where it was like, hey, make sure this one's just barely visible, and this one's not visible, and this one's just barely visible, and this is not visible. It was really confusing, and you had to do it for every game that supported HDR. Now, that's changed with Windows 11. There's a new Windows HDR calibration tool that's available from Microsoft in the Microsoft Store that lets you set the calibration for HDR at a system level, and some newer games are starting to take advantage of that. I'm going to show you how to set this up on this MSI QD OLED. It's a 32:1 UP 4K OLED display. It's 32 inches of OLED glory, and while the settings are specific to this monitor, they apply to most HDR monitors and video cards. We're doing an NVIDIA card here, but this is a system level setting, not an NVIDIA specific setting. Now to get started, you're gonna need the Windows HDR calibration tool from the Microsoft Store. It's usually one of the first few options, but look around. If there's multiples, you want the one from the Microsoft Corporation. You can just click Get, it'll install it on your computer. Now I'm gonna open it up, and the first thing I'm seeing here is, hey, HDR is turned off. Turn on Use HDR in display settings. So I'm going to go to display settings, and I'm going to flip HDR on, and the monitor is going to blank out for a moment, and it's going to turn a bunch of business on. And now my monitor says HDR in the top right corner, and it says HDR on in the display settings. And when I go back to the panel, instead of saying, hey, you need to turn on HDR, it says get started, which I'm going to do. Before we get started though, I want to look at these settings, these boxes down here, because these tell you what you want to see in the end. And the goal is to have no bars, either darker or lighter on the screen, have one solid block of either light or dark color. So here we can see at the beginning, there's a little bit of a light color. I can make it lighter or darker. And when I pull it all the way over here to the left, it looks like it pretty much fades out. I'm gonna do the same thing for the light bars. And these you want to get right on. You want to have it as the lowest possible or highest possible setting you can have without being able to see the bars still. This one is the luminance test, and we're gonna just adjust it until the boxes go away entirely. This is color saturation. This is a little bit of a personal preference and may change based on your lighting in your room or your display. I usually, if I can't tell the difference, if I don't see any changes, I usually just set it at 50%. And then here we go, PCWorld calibration. I'm going to name our profile so we know which one it is. It's important to note, if your monitor has multiple brightness settings, which we can see here, then you're going to want to have a color profile for both. Say this monitor has a 400 and 1000 nit brightness settings. You're going to make different profiles for each one. And you may use, for example, like the True Black 400, you might use in a darker room. The 1000 nit peak you might use in a fully lit room like this one. Now, if we go back to display settings, so you see when it loads, our color profile is set to this PCWorld calibration profile that we made a few moments ago. HDR is turned on. And when we launch a game, it's going to be color calibrated automatically without us having to move all the bits and pieces. So that's a quick primer on HDR calibration in Windows 11. If you have more questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll take a look later this week. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to MSI for providing the monitor that we used for testing. And we will be back next time with another video. Maybe go watch this one right here.